Hey, I don't know why I decided to open it up with all those, but whatever. We're having fun here. It's Sunday. Ew, freaking Sunday. Sunday evenings, never fun because it's like the week's ahead. But welcome to the Patreon. Welcome to the Patreon stream, Patreon/members stream. So I decided this time around I would invite members of the YouTube channel onto the panel. So if you're a member, you can a member of the YouTube channel, if you hit the member button, you could come on and have a little chat. And then, of course, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you also have that as well. So anyways, hopefully you guys are doing good. I am drinking something different that is actually quite delicious. I am drinking a hard kombucha. That's right. I went a different route because I was like, all right, gotta have something. Didn't want beer, didn't want a seltzer. So I thought hard kombucha. I've had kombucha, just never a hard kombucha. And this is quite delicious. So not too shabby. And apparently, they try to healthy up your alcohol. Whatever, hey, healthy up the alcohol. But kombucha is really good for the gut. It's got all kinds of good goody stuff in there, so that's good. But how are we feeling out there, huh? Oh, okay. We got, of course, Triton right here. That's going to be probably tweeting these hashtags for the next 30 years. Sounds about right. I mean, I do, I do want the Air cut to be released. I would love the Batfleck solo film, but that's out of the question. And restoration of the Snyderverse would be okay, but yeah. And then of course hashtag fuck James Gunn, which hey, you're free to say that. What's going on, Eric? Good to see you. We got MSGT right here. What's going on, Lex? Yeah, love those vibes. What's going on? How you doing? Okay, let's see. We got Phil right here. Yeah, I know. I still have that. I used to have that as my opener for Film Junkie Live, but I changed it. So, but I still have it in my StreamYard drop. So that's pretty cool. What's going on, Stephanie T? Good to see ya. And we got Pal right here. Sundays are fine when every day is a Monday, right? There you go, Chino. Did you hear that? What Jim Lee said about comic sales tripling? Yes, certainly did. Certainly heard about that, which that's smart. I think we all agreed that how smart that was. We all agreed that was smart for them to basically say like, hey, so if you want to catch up and want to know what the stories for the new DCU slate is going to be, here's some reading material that you can prepare yourself. I mean, you got plenty of time. Let's face it, you still got 2 years essentially to prepare yourself for that. So, and I think that was really, really smart of them to do that. So it's good things. Yes. Yeah. Gods and monsters. What's going on? All right. I'm seeing like double messages here. So that's interesting. But what's going on, Mr. Everett? Good to see you, buddy. All right, let's start getting everybody in here who wants to get in here. Like I said, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you'll be getting the link on the Patreon. If you are a member of the channel, you'll be getting. I'll put it on the members only feed, so you'll see it on the feed. I mean, if obviously, if you're a member, you know that we do members only streams after every Wednesday, normal Film Junkie Live. So I'm just gonna put it. And obviously I just put it on the members feed right there. So I'm gonna post it right now. Hold on a sec. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. I actually did watch The Flash again last night. Oh crap. And don't do that. I actually did watch The Flash again last night. Miss Nighthawk wanted to watch it, and then of course sorry, I was just looking at something, and then she wanted to watch it again, but she loves it. Miss Nighthawk, Steph, she that's her favorite movie of the year so far. So she loves The Flash. I think it gets better with each watch. It's the third time I've seen it now. And then we wanted to show her neighbor Scott, who sometimes has been in the chats during the vodka streams, and he really liked it too. I guess he's known for falling asleep during movies. He didn't fall asleep, so that's a good sign, I guess. Stream link. So there we go. Here you go. So we got that. All right. So. Now I got that. Now I got that song in my head. Okay, and then I'm gonna post it for the members. Let's see, create post. Oh, come on. Why aren't you working? Okay, I think it's working. It's still freaking hot, man. We had some rain here. We had a little, almost like a little monsoon. No thunder. We're hoping for thunder, but sadly, no thunder. So sadly, no thunder or lightning. So all members, all right. The link to the stream. That right there. All right. All members. Okay. So we're posting right there. That's good. All right. Good. All right. We got some people backstage. Let's see. Okay. William, I know you're back there. William's is in an interesting spot. I can't invite you in because your mic and cam are not connected. So if you're listening to this, but okay, he just exited out. But yeah, I know William is at Comic-Con. So, and I know he said he wanted to show up and talk about some Comic-Con things, which we got to remember that Comic-Con happened this weekend. I mean, obviously there was no movie stuff that happened with Comic-Con, but there's plenty of things to talk about. And I was even talking with William about what was going on at Comic-Con. But all right, let's start bringing some people in here. Let me display. There we go. What's going on, Phil?
Yo. It's going.
How you doing? Good?
It's hot. I'm all right. How are you doing?
Did you get any rain?
No.
I know you're up north, so yeah, we got rain down here.
Cloudy right now, but no rain.
Yeah, you might be getting some then, because it was like yesterday when I was driving to Steph's house, I saw the clouds and it was like, oh boy, maybe we might get a little monsoon weather, but we didn't get anything yesterday. And then this morning when we woke up, all of a sudden, it started raining here. It's just something about rain in the summer that's so much better than rain during the winter. In the winter, you're just like, it's cold. It's like, ugh. You get wet. You're like, that makes it worse. Summer rain, I like summer rain.
Yeah, me too. I remember when I was in middle school, it rained really hard one summer, but since it was summer, the water wasn't even like cold, right? Like it was just warm, humid. Even it was great.
Yeah, it's got a certain scent to it. Also,
yeah, absolutely,
pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And then we got Mr. Eric right here. What is happening?
How you doing, man? I hate summer rain. I hate summer rain, especially when the sun is out during the rain, because it's incredibly humid, and especially, well, probably because you're in California, Dave, and you're up north, Bill, but I'm in Florida, so.
Yeah, it's humid as hell.
Yeah, summer rain when the sun is out is hell on Earth. Yeah. Anyway, hey, ladies and gentlemen, here's my droid sidekick, R76.
Oh God.
And the drink of the night is because it's June. That means it is peak peach milkshake season. Chick-fil-A.
It's July.
It's July.
July.
Yeah.
Freudian slip, but like I was kind of reflecting on the fact that usually it's just July and August. It's peach milkshake season, but this year they extended it into June
because it's a popular drink, right? I haven't had it yet.
Right.
I haven't had it yet. I know you suggested it like last year. I haven't had it yet. One of these days, maybe.
Yeah. Well, just say this, Dave. Have you ever used DoorDash?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'd say like whenever you have for you don't have anything to eat, anything at the moment to eat or whatever, any choice, whatever. Say, hey, you know what? I'll treat myself some Chick-fil-A. Give me some peach milkshake. It's great.
It's funny. I had Chick-fil-A last night, actually. It's delicious. I hadn't had it in a bit. I love those spicy chicken sandwiches. All right, we got RJ showing up too.
Hello. Hey, RJ.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing?
Doing good. Yesterday was fun. Did the Barbenheimer double feature. Wasn't expecting to. It came very last minute because I wasn't prepared at all. So when I was trying to buy tickets, it was horrific. All of the showings were pretty much sold out. So I'm lucky I even got to go at all yesterday. It was crazy. My Oppenheimer screening in GPX, the premium format, sold out.
Nice.
Sold out completely.
Right.
I was blown away. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
of course, we got the box office results, and they both did very well. I mean, especially an R-rated biopic about a bomb, 3 hour.
Yeah.
Man, talk about 174 million. I'm like, yep, there you go.
Yeah.
In Nolan, we trust.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
100%,
I didn't have the Barbenheimer double feature, but like my sister and I earlier today saw Barbie. So
Did you see Oppenheimer also, or no?
no. There's a friend of mine and I were planning on seeing it early this next week, but yeah, he wasn't available on the weekend. But like we're planning on doing it early this week. But still, my sister treated me to Barbie, so it's like we checked it out. Like, well, there you go.
What'd you think of Barbie?
Well, it's a lot more. I was pleasantly surprised at how it's a lot deeper than you would think with going to see a Barbie movie. But at the same time, because it's Barbie, I love it embraces the whole camp of it, and because of that, it's entertaining. But when it got to the issues, look, so many on my side of the aisle will overreact and go, "Whoa," as you've pointed out. But it's like I look at it, it's like. It's much. The way it addresses these things is a lot more complex than people are letting on, because it critiques. It seems to critique patriarchy, but then it goes completely on the other end and critiques, the whole where militant feminism could go to too, because the whole thing is because I don't know how much can we spoil? I don't know how many people have seen Barbie or how many people are in the.
I mean, we don't have to go dive into it, but I mean, to me, it's like there's not even much when it comes to spoilers. I mean, there's you kind of go in and I mean, you kind of know what you're in store for.
Well, there's arguably some spoilers about.
Did you see it?
No, I'm gonna have to see both of them this week sometime. It's been sold out and busy, so yeah.
Well, I'll just say that I would argue that there would be some spoilers regarding Ryan Gosling's Ken. I'm just saying that with his storyline, there's some spoilers there. But other than that, it's like the motivations in this turn out to be the people who are going for patriarchy. It turns out that maybe there's they have their side too. Well, they've been going through unfair situation too, which is this is more the film is addressing. This is a lot more complex than either side is seems open to.
Well, I'll be curious too, because for me at least, everyone's debating what order you should see it if you do a double feature. Yeah. Mine worked out the only way where I saw Barbie first because it was earlier. They had way more showings earlier in the day, and then Oppenheimer I ended the night with. Yeah. I don't know if that was a smart choice though, because the ending of Oppenheimer has just completely messed me up for the last day. I've just been sitting here thinking about it. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. It might be the best ending Nolan's ever done. And this is coming from someone who loves Inception and a bunch of other movies. But the ending of this movie, you're just God damn. Okay.
Yeah.
It just sits with you for a while, Yeah.
It just boils down to what mood do you want to be in when you finally leave the theater? Do you want to be in a more positive, upbeat, kind of fun mood? Then you see Barbie second. But if you want to leave the theater blown away, I guess you would see Oppenheimer second. But
I saw it. I saw Oppenheimer first, and but I didn't see it back to back. People that saw it back to back, I was good on you. But I saw Thursday and then Friday morning. I think because Oppenheimer is pretty heavy, and like you said, it ends, and it's just you're walking out just kind of stunned, and thinking about it. Even on the way home, you're just geez, Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, just the way that it just. I mean, Nolan. I mean, he just Nolan's the shit out of it because he just plants the seed, right? In the beginning, and just the way that he does it, and the way that he tells different times, different moments simultaneously.
The way the narrative flows in the movie is really interesting. It's very interesting, the way it's not necessarily linear, which I kind of liked. And the color contrasting too in certain moments I really dug too. But there's so many actors in this movie, and there's so many people I didn't even know was in here. I said this on Twitter, but it's funny because I think Discussing Film posted about what supporting actor gave the best performance, and I'm I'm not saying he's the best supporting actor in the movie, but Rami Malek has like one dialogue scene. He only speaks once in the movie,
and
but when he does, it's like so impactful. Like it's just like a mic drop.
You could basically, I mean, when it comes to supporting nominations, it's going to be difficult because, I mean, obviously Robert Downey Jr. is like, you know, he's like the main supporting nominee.
Yeah,
he's so good in it. But then you can also have Matt Damon. You can have, Rami Malek, like I said, he has a great
Alden
scene
Ehrenreich's in here too. And he's really good too.
Oh, and
I heard our good friend Ray talk about the movie earlier, and I know there's an Army of the Dead connection as well. I'm not going to say who, but I'll say that.
Oh yeah, Daddy. Yeah.
I heard about that. That's really cool.
Thaddeus, Matthias. Matthias
Schweighofer. Yeah.
There you go. Oh, I say Thaddeus. Yeah. Is that it? No, I don't know why I even said that. Anyways, but we got William. He's there.
Hey, buddy.
What's up? How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm in this. Listen, streaming from anywhere but your office or your house sucks.
Already not wiped out yet. I'd be like, I don't want to stream. I'm so tired.
There's
an
energy there that he has, obviously.
I am wiped out, and I'm going to go see Oppenheimer as soon as I leave the airport. We're literally going from the airport to the theater to see that.
What? You're going to fall asleep?
I'm not going to have another opportunity to see it. So, and I'm not seeing Barbie ever, so that saves me some time there. So,
oh, wow.
Do you want to be part of the cultural phenomenon, William? You don't want to do the double feature? It's going to be a historic thing. 10 years from now, you're telling everyone, I saw Barbenheimer.
No, Ryan Gosling got his one movie out of me, and that was Blade Runner 2049, and that was my accident. So, no, I have no intentions, and to be honest with you, I'm not the biggest Nolan fan. This is probably the only movie I've ever anticipated actually being excited for Nolan. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not knocking his quality.
You sound like me before Dunkirk.
I know. I love Dunkirk, but it exceeded my expectations. I went into Dunkirk because we promoted Dunkirk. It exceeded my expectations.
That movie for me is like the weakest for him. Like
the sound score. Hans Zimmer saves that movie sound score wise though, man.
Yeah, I'll give you that, but even still, like that's
Can I give
like
a Nolan hot take real quick?
Yeah,
I actually really love Tenet. People really hate that movie, but I really like it.
Okay, my Nolan movies outside of the Dark Knight franchise go Interstellar, Tenet, and then the Dark Knight franchise. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I believe I've seen all of Nolan's films. I'll tell you, I except Oppenheimer. I've not seen Oppenheimer yet, but we tend to see it in a few days, as I said. I recall. I saw Interstellar twice in theaters, and both times, the whole scene where Matthew McConaughey is watching, watching his kids grow up with the videos, and he breaks down in tears. Both times, like I was dripping in tears. So that time.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, it's been years. I'm sure everybody interested have seen it, but still, like that was pretty high. But still, like I love also like Tenet, like obviously the Dark Knight trilogy. Wait, no, I think of that. I haven't seen Dunkirk yet. Oddly enough, I have done. But
have you seen Following? Have you seen The Following?
Yeah, I saw Following. I've seen Insomnia, The Prestige,
Mementos too.
Yeah, what is it? Boy,
Insomnia.
I know. Was it
Insomnia?
Yeah, I saw Insomnia and Inception. Yeah, that's the other. Yeah, the other one. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta admit though, like you can call this my hot take. Inception, if I were to rank them, Inception might be like one of the lowest, like least great for me. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's like, oh, okay. I mean, it's very bizarre and out there, but it's like, okay.
See, I don't like Nolan enough to even rank his movies. I don't hate him though. See, it's not like I hate.
You hate Ryan Gosling.
No. He doesn't capture me like a Michael Mann or somebody like that does, or Ridley Scott. And I think kind of rubbed me the wrong way with because I think the Dark Knight trilogy is overrated. I think if you take
kick him off,
hold on,
please.
if you take Heath Ledger's legendary performance out of that trilogy, it's a good series, but it's not in the Paul Bunyan and Babe the Ox level that people put it on. Because to be honest with you, Matt Reeves does a better job at what Nolan tries to do just in one movie.
Okay.
I think they're trying to do two different things, though. Like, to me, that's like I feel like Matt Reeves is trying to be more comic booky, but still around it.
I understand.
He's just more efficient. He just does a better job at what Nolan was attempting to do. He incorporates everything. And like I said, the Nolan thing has become a legend. Like it's like Michael Jordan. Everybody who's watched Michael Jordan play, or thinks that Michael Jordan is the greatest, and then there's people who were born that never even saw him that's going to think Kobe or LeBron, things like that. I think he's become this, outside legend. He's not a bad director. Don't get me wrong. I just think he's horribly overrated when it.
No, we think he's a fantastic director, William. That's the thing. He's not a bad director.
Well, that's my other Nolan hot take too. I really like The Dark Knight Rises. It's the weakest of the trilogy.
Wow,
I really love that movie.
I don't hate it. I have my gripes. It doesn't work as well as the first two for sure. And I even go back and forth on Batman Begins and Dark Knight as which one I think is the best one, because sometimes I feel like Batman Begins is the better one, and then sometimes I'm just like, I watch The Dark Knight and I'm going, this fucking thing is.
I can't defend the Talia death scene though. That is bad. That is bad. That's bad. Yes, but outside of that,
her entire character is a waste of time in that. Her entire character. And that actress is excellent. The entire character of her is a waste of time in that movie.
Yeah. I'll say this, for me, the big high point of Dark Knight Rises, of course, is Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. I mean, she just sold that role beautifully. She was great.
Did I need a 2.5 hour movie, though, to get this like Heath Ledger? When I watch The Dark Knight now, I watch Ledger's scenes. I'm not going through that movie again.
Wow. I just went through that movie. I literally just had a commentary through that. I love his Two-Face. I love.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, outside of Heath Ledger, I think Aaron Eckhart's probably the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
I also think it's if you could say take away Heath Ledger, but I think that's also there's a lot still there. Like Cillian Murphy as the Scarecrow, Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, also Henry Ducard. That was a really great twist.
Well,
but
when people say you take away Heath Ledger's performance, what do you? I mean, but it's that's the thing though. It's the whole. I get it.
There's
he drives the whole thing, but that's why the movie was made. Mainly because the star, the character that's going to bring people to it was the Joker. So when people do this whole thing and they say you remove Heath Ledger's Joker, then what do you got? It's
no, it's not true though, because if you look at it, Heath Ledger's Joker makes you look at the entire series in a different way. He's carrying 3 movies. Two of them he's not even in, because the movies that followed that wasn't a very good movie, but a lot of people on the momentum of Heath Ledger's performance went and saw The Dark Knight Rises.
Well, again,
it's debatable. I think people went and saw The Dark Knight Rises for a multitude of different reasons. I don't think they went specifically because of Heath Ledger's performance.
Would that many people, though? Would that many people have seen The Dark Knight or
he
The
was
Dark
already
Knight Rises?
Passed away. Why? And he's not even in the movie. I mean,
that momentum still carries, though.
I don't think so.
But
I disagree with that.
Statistically, it's true, though.
I don't think it carried it. I think it helped, but I don't think it carried it completely.
For me, it's just, again, it's not just Heath Ledger's Joker. It's also Aaron Eckhart's Harvey Dent. For me, that's
a movie.
That's a sidecar performance compared to Heath Ledger's impact on that movie, though.
No.
Aaron
I don't think so.
When you think of The Dark Knight, what do you think of?
I think of Heath Ledger.
I think of the whole fucking story.
I think of the Long Halloween.
Well, the thing is that Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face is the catalyst for the story. He's the main driving point, if you think about it, because it's about him. It's about what Joker does
for nerds like us, maybe, but the general audience.
The core story is about what Joker tries to prove by enacting his chaos into Harvey Dent, because he's the symbol of pure goodness and awfulness. That's the whole point of the character.
I'm not knocking, though. I just think he's overrated. I'm going to go pay to see a Nolan movie because this is the one I've actually anticipated.
I'll one-up you right now. I think James Cameron's overrated.
I do. I agree. I agree 100%.
Well, I don't get to one-up anyone today.
100% disagree with both of you on that.
I think the word overrated is overrated.
I know. I hate it when people say overrated.
There you go.
Because I'm James Cameron literally changed cinema throughout the decades. That's why
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I suspect a lot of the people who are kind of putting down James Cameron, it's either due to they may argue, and understandably so, that Avatar is overrated, understandably, or they may have a disdain for Titanic because of all how Titanic is, most people remember Titanic as being, sappy, as like as a young, Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet and so on with a Celine Dion song and yada yada yada. But I don't know.
That
really
movie is fucking boring.
He sold out.
That movie is just fucking boring. Man. I'm sorry, but there is just nothing appealing to me about Titanic. I just think it is one of the most boring films he's ever made.
I don't believe he sold out. But anyway, sorry, Phil.
I just think when it comes to James Cameron, like he peaked way back when. Terminator 2 is still one of the greatest sci-fi action films ever made. 100%, and I don't think he's ever topped himself after that. Like to me, like T2 is like the best film he ever made.
Well, you have Aliens, which is legendary, but to
you
me,
see, I don't agree with that. I think Aliens is actually one of the weaker films in the Alien franchise.
Alien 3 with the cardboard.
No, I would rather watch the director's cut of Alien 3 over Aliens any day of the week. 100%.
Man, we got some takes tonight.
This is all day hot take every day.
Here's my top 3 Alien films: Alien, Prometheus, Alien 3. There we go.
Okay.
Prometheus is great. I hope we get the finishing of that storyline. But Alien 3, I'd rather drink out of the toilet than watch Alien 3 again.
I still felt so bad because when Alien Covenant came out, I was super excited to go see it. I saw it opening day. It was in a premium large format, Alien Covenant.
It wasn't a bad movie.
It was just me in the theater, all by myself. With me and my party of guests. That was it. I was
like, a bad continuation of Prometheus stuff.
So, RJ, I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to cut you off, but like the thing is about Alien Covenant is like it's a good Ridley Scott movie. It's not a great Alien movie.
It's a good horror.
You know what? I think it was because to me it just seems like because the reaction to Prometheus and people in the studio was like, hey, this wasn't alien enough. So then it changed to, all right, we have to have it where it's like more alien than what you wanted to do. Because Prometheus, let's face it, it's not really an alien until like the very end when you kind of see the xenomorph show up. Then but the thing is,
you see the birth of like the face hugger and where what is that last one? The first xenomorph,
the octopus looking thing.
No, that's the first face hugger. But there's a word for that first xenomorph. Like
I can't remember.
It starts with like a D or something, but it's like it's the firstborn.
Well, I was just annoyed
xenomorph.
with Covenant how they just like. It seemed like Ridley Scott had to like rush through some of the David stuff where like David drops like he wipes out the civilization. Like that could have been a whole movie. It's just like we're throwing away that potential of like, okay, we're killing all these people off just to make it just
like,
about this one.
Could you imagine a whole movie where David just goes into a straight mad fit after Noomi Rapace just completely rebuilds his body and then he turns on her at the end of the movie? And then he bombs that civilization. Like that would have been awesome, but I'm not.
Like Prometheus, and I do agree. Like it takes a bit before you start to realize that yes, Prometheus is a prequel to Alien. But it's like I got a kick out of the fact that for much of the movie you're wondering, okay, how does this lead into Alien? And then at the very end of the movie you realize, oh, this is the planet where the crew of the first Alien show up. This is one of the distress signal. Okay.
Actually, that wasn't. I don't believe that wasn't. I think that was another ship. Yeah, but what was it?
The first planet was LV-429. The planet in Alien is LV-426. The big thing is that was the ship, not the planet. It's the same ship.
Well, here's the thing that's supposed to happen. He's going to probably explain this: is that there are multiples of those ships that were sent out.
There's 2 projects happening. There's a series happening on Hulu, I believe, and then there's a movie that's also happening from
Fide. What's his name?
I'm so scared about the show. I'm a little bit scared about both of them. Because
isn't that Noah Hawley's show? Isn't Noah Hawley doing that?
Yes. Well, the issue though is that they are both going to be filming during the strikes, just with non-SAG actors, which I'm like, that is a horrible idea. Do not.
Are they really doing that? I didn't know.
Yes,
that.
both. Yeah, this got reported. I think the movie's done, but the show is moving ahead with filming without SAG actors. Like they're.
I think the show's going to get postponed. The show's going to get postponed.
Yeah, because I remember the movie finishing filming like right before the actors went on strike.
Yeah, because that was a big deal when the strikes got reported. They said that this Alien show they're just going to film without SAG actors. Yeah. House of the Dragon season 2, I think, did start filming, but the last I heard was that Matt Smith is a SAG actor and he refuses to film. He refuses to work. He's like, nope, I'm going to be striking.
Which is fun
with that either.
Well, no, it's easy because they can film his scenes later. They do that a lot in Game of Thrones anyway. They film out of sequence, so they can film everybody else. So he'll be fine. But here's the thing, though: this strike is we were talking about it all day here because it was a big topic.
They had panels.
Yeah, I wanted to get since you were at Comic-Con, I wanted to get like some of your input when it came to a lot of the discussions and what you saw there. So go ahead. Where's yours?
Well, as far as the a lot of the strike stuff came up. A lot of people it's probably going to last 6 to 9 months. Is what everybody that we bumped into. We were talking was 6 to 9 months because even though you don't have actors here, you still have industry. You still have like Paramount is here, Fox is here, Hulu is here, and they are talking to people, and people are asking them questions, and they're thinking 6 to 9. The goals, the problem with trying to compare to any of the strike is the goals here are precedents as far as anything that's decided here is going to be like almost like a legally binding thing going forward as far as agreement and collective bargaining. The biggest problem is you got to worry about Netflix because even though it's really easy to vilify the rest of the studios, if Netflix gives up too much in concessions, they literally could cease to exist, and that's not hyperbole because
that's
of
been
the
the
rest
word
of
on
the
the
studios.
street that Netflix was the one holding out the most. But I wanted to ask this real quick too. When you say 6 to 9 months, is that just for the actors, or is that for both strikes?
From this point on. From this point on.
Okay,
from this point on. That's the average.
From SAG and WGA.
Yeah, because they'll probably reach an agreement together.
You bring up a good point about how if Netflix agrees to too much, they'll fail, which is very good point because I can't tell you, like, you see, like, on social media, as a rule, like, people en masse are like gung-ho for the Writers Guild or the Screen Actors Guild. It's like, and if someone points out, hey, we're not getting any content, well, don't you care about how these people are being compensated? Well, it's not just that side. If this goes on for too long, then things collapse. And if they give too much compensation, then things collapse.
What needs to happen is Netflix is part of the organization that is, obviously a producer. But the problem with them is they don't have a backing revenue source like everyone else does.
Not
Paramount
like
does, Warner Brothers does, Amazon does,
right.
Hulu does. So they can take the hit. Zaslav and all those guys can give concessions and then go somewhere else, go to another well to make up for it. Netflix can't. They don't even have that many theatrical releases, and they don't even have that as part of their business plan because that's not what you subscribe to Netflix for.
But they're starting to do that, right? Didn't Tyrone Gets Cloned? Didn't that get a limited release?
Yeah, but
making that up.
No, but because we promoted that, the massive amount of revenue you would have to take to absorb percentages and things like that that's your main issue right now. And they are out here talking about that. Like I said, when you go to Hall H, this is my first. I mean, I've been coming to off and on to these cons since 89. 89 was my first year. And I stopped coming because of all the Hall H nonsense. I avoided Comic-Con. I made a conscious effort to get there this year. Once the WGA went on strike, and I knew that the writers were going to go after that. And then we got with Trauma to see if they would sponsor the trip. They did. And you go to Hall H, like I said, I went to the Star Trek panel. We were the first one. That was the first. It was something called Ghost Ruin. That was actually the very first one on Saturday. It was a cartoon with Rosario Dawson in it. So that was the first one. But it filled up. The panel filled up to all 6,000 people. But you didn't have nobody was sleeping out there everywhere. Nobody was. You just walked right in. They guided you in. You sat down. I got pictures and video I put up on our pages. But it wasn't a lesser convention though.
You said it was like popping. It was popping like more than usual, and that's what's kind of cool about the fact that it's like even though there's not a movie element there like the normal stuff, I'm glad that it's about the comic books. It's about like this other. It's about like these writers of all this and all this other stuff too. I like the fact that it was about that. I mean, obviously we want the Hall H stuff. We want the big presentations and whatever the hell, but I do like that it's it's kind of almost back to the roots a little bit.
Yeah.
Personally, I hope it. I know this is not going to happen. It'll be back as soon as this strike is over. To be honest with you, I hope it never comes back. And here's the reason why. Because when they first started all this, you're talking about it. It started in 2008, and then with Twilight in 2011, 2012, it kind of exploded. You've had internet advances and YouTube and everything else that makes it not necessary to have that. And even the Star Trek panel. The Star Trek panel, they released everything that they sold us, they told us about in that panel. An hour later, the episode that we previewed was available on Paramount Plus, and now all the trailers were. And that's, to me, that's the way it should be, because it's the masses that's going to make you your money and keep your thing alive. Showing something to me in a hall of 6,000 people and hoping my word of mouth spreads it out to people, that's kind of stupid. You want everyone to see it as soon as possible.
Well, I think the vendors this year benefited too, because they had more people walking around the show floor just buying stuff, which helped out too. Like, kind of just got populated again.
Well, here's the thing though, and it's just very expensive. Some of these companies might cut the expense, especially if they have their own in-house things like the D23s and everything else. They're already spending money there, and it's really expensive to get these things going. And like I said, this is a 2012 mentality to put all this on a convention and a hall with 6,000 people. Even if you have a bunch of people promoting, I push this button and broadcast it on YouTube. There's no amount that Comic-Con can amount to. Everybody can look at their phone, bam, there it is. There's nothing you can't get out right now via YouTube. So I think the concept, and I think they may learn this. I don't know what it'll hold 6 to 9 months from now, but I think that this may change the game for a while. Who knows? Hopefully it does, because there was tons of people, dude. There was this much space in between all of us, and if I weren't 6'2", 250, I would be getting knocked over instead of doing the knocking over. I don't know how many people's shots I screwed up. I mean, sorry for everybody who went to con who was trying to take pictures with my big head cutting across. I had to get by. All the strollers I tripped over, people I kicked out of the way. You just had to have a linebacker mentality, because it was even on Sunday, which is usually the dead getaway day. No, it was packed, and it was a lot of. There were things I didn't ever even heard of that had lines. Everything had a line. Some things I did never even heard of in my life had a line, and it was cool. You had independent artists. Artist Alley was a lot bigger. It was all compressed. It was all compressed. When you go upstairs, there's all the ballrooms and everything else, and a lot of that stuff. The costume contest was wild, because that was upstairs. But other than that, it was I didn't think it missed any of that. I think, like I said, depending on how long this strike goes, and the fact that these companies are going to have to develop other means, of putting this news out, you may not see an environment like you saw prior to this. Again, it's just a guess.
It is going to be interesting to see, moving forward, next year. I mean, obviously, like you said, it's not going to happen. There's going to be a presence, Hall H. I mean, if everything, resolves and things are good. Oh, looks like we lost him. I mean, he is at the airport. But I mean, but for sure, there's going to be a return to the Hall H. I mean, obviously, when it comes to
for sure.
DC, well, I mean, hopefully James Gunn has something planned next year. But
Well, I was going to say, for me at least, it seemed like this Comic-Con weekend was really heavily carried by video games animation, because just based on what I saw, the 3 biggest things there was Spider-Man 2, that panel and that whole thing, the Mortal Kombat 1 stuff, and then Invincible. Because Invincible really, that whole thing really blew up too. So
I got to ask them. So
Son of Earth and Watchmen got animated adaptation announcements.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
I got to ask them so the writers of the video game script writers and the comic book script writers, they're not in the SAG, are they?
Comic book writers, no.
I would imagine the case.
Only a fair few, probably maybe Tom King, but the difference is so, I mean, Tom King's part of that brain trust for the DCU, but the difference is if he's there promoting a comic book, then that's just it. He's promoting his comic book. He's not promoting a big budget presentation, so he doesn't have anything to talk about or promote.
The stipulations when it comes to all that, I mean, because I even saw a video today, and some people were putting some backlash on Greta. What's her name? I always
Greta Gerwig.
I don't know why I always want to say Thunberg. How dare you? That's why I don't know why. I think that immediately when I think Greta. But apparently she showed up to one of the screenings, and people were like, "Whoa, she's going against the rules," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Is she really though?" Because I mean, She is the director, and the directors can still
right.
Yeah.
I think the issue, though, for some, based on what I saw, is that she is promoting it as a director only, technically, but she's also the screenwriter with her husband.
And that was like a conversation too. I remember, I think it was Aaron Bailey who was even saying like he wasn't sure if there was going to be like a Rebel Moon trailer that showed up, and maybe Zach can't push it because he was a writer on that. But I'm like, well, and then there was a discussion about Christopher Nolan, if he was like, because he was promoting obviously Oppenheimer as a director, and then people were like, well, yeah, he didn't write it, and like, well, no, he did. He does have a writing credit. So he wrote it. He helped write the screen. So it's all weird. It's all very strange.
Yeah, and for the video games, since like video games like obviously have scripts and they also have voice actors. So I'm just wondering, like, do the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild, do they apply to those or?
Sometimes, yeah. I think during the Spider-Man 2 panel before it even got started, Yuri Lowenthal, who voices Spider-Man, was basically like, we're here promoting this game, but we may not be able to in the future because like voice actors may be going on strike very soon as well. So, but they did like make it a big thing, being like, yeah, we stand in solidarity with both of the unions. We don't know if we're going to be able to promote this game after this, but we're here to do it today. So,
yes, some of them had pre-existing, even beyond the strike, like the one for Barbie. Not only did she actually got permission, but she also had a pre-existing, and they allowed you to do if you had things pre-existing, because you're not just affecting the big studios, you're affecting a lot of things, a lot of jobs around that when you don't show up for your promotion. So I think a lot of that was earmarked in. But yeah, strike was a big topic. The Spider-Man thing was kind of cool. I got pictures of that. Marvel had an entire bridge-like thing where they had their store.
And they always had that. Their booth's always awesing. Yeah.
The DC one was good. I mean, the Star Trek had the best one in my opinion, but I'm biased. I'm heavily biased. But they really went all out for theirs. Of course.
Well, that's what was so funny to me, because like you didn't have like traditional like Hall H with like Warner Brothers or Marvel Studios coming, but like I said before you got disconnected, William, it's like I feel like the video game stuff and the animation really took a spotlight this year, because like the Spider-Man 2 panel, that was huge. The Mortal Kombat one, that was huge as well, and then Invincible I think stole the show too.
Yeah, and because of the way those jackasses were presented, them being huge, dude, you want to see just things stop where they were at, where they did their presentations. Like I said, their major presentations were not in a hall. Their major presentations were right in the middle of the damn floor.
Yeah, because I remember seeing pictures and I'm like, wow. I mean, it didn't seem like it was big at all when it came to some of these panels.
I was going to the Spider-Man one because you didn't have to actually get in there, the little enclosed area. And some guy cosplays as Yoda. Dude, you're 6 foot tall. You almost put my eye out. I was like, some of these cosplays are dangerous, man. I had to like.
Did you see what's his name?
Wilson Fisk.
Yes.
Kingpin?
Yeah, the giant Kingpin dude. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, how do you even walk around in that? And then, especially in the heat, because I'm sure it was like,
we did not see him inside. I talked to him and everything. I got an interview with him.
Nice.
Yeah, you couldn't. You couldn't get. I didn't see him inside at all. When I took that picture,
there's no way he could.
Yeah, you couldn't get to the door unless he dismantled all that stuff. And then there was a shark.
I saw a Thanos too that was like freaking awesome as well. And I mean, and that was pretty huge too. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I just can't imagine like he was probably burning up in there. I mean, obviously,
dude, it was hot.
Not as bad as Vegas right now, though, right, William?
No, and I'm going back to that incinerator right now. It was 71 degrees here in San Diego. It's now 111 in Vegas. So.
Yeah. It was 71 degrees there, but it was humid, huh? It was a little humid.
Yeah, it jumped still not hot as Florida, just saying.
Oh, yeah, probably not.
Nah, and I just realized I don't like traveling. Yeah. It took all those years
well,
in
actually,
the Army.
I was going to say, because William's here, I have to ask him this. DC did announce their 2 animated movies, and one of them is Crisis on Infinite Earths. I know you got to love that, because you love that story.
I didn't pay too soon? No, I didn't get too close to that because their booth is. They put their booth in an awful area. I don't know why. Their booth is all the way on the other side where the Funko thing is. What's Funko was just, unless you were getting a Funko and getting fleeced by those guys, you really didn't have any reason to go to that corner. But yeah, their booth was in a bad area. I got to it a couple of times, but I didn't see any of their announcements. So I got their announcements secondhand. But anything to do with Crisis on Infinite Earth, to me, like I said, I automatically subliminally ignore it. So
yeah, I just saw people say like it's a little too soon for this new animated, universe.
I feel like they're just like nuking the Tomorrowverse already.
Yeah,
that's the impression I got, because when they first
Okay.
announced it and they were first releasing it, if you notice when you buy the Blu-rays, they have like the little logo on the spine. It was meant to go on long enough to spell out DC Universe, and now I'm like, we're already going to Crisis. Like we're not even at like the I yet in the branding for it. So I'm like,
you look at, are you talking about Legends of Tomorrow, stuff like that, or
no.
Okay.
Like we're talking about the animated like movie.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
the Tomorrow universe that they've,
because they're doing the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the next one is going to be a full-on animated adaptation of Watchmen to be just like the comic.
Wow.
I'll see. That sounds good if it's exactly, adaptation.
I'm sure Alan Moore loves it, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, because remember, the one time he ever formally approved of an adaptation of one of his things was for the Justice League animated series. It was for the man who has everything.
Was it really? Okay, I always thought he was against everything that was.
No, Eric's right. That one episode when it came out, he actually, that was like, I think that's the only time he's ever been positive about anything. He's like, oh yeah, they did a great job at adapting that story. I did. Good job, guys.
No, but I didn't hear that.
On all three of the big three.
Yeah, and that's why his name is in the credits. Because, like, as well, if he doesn't approve, his name is not in the credits.
Yeah, that guy is
Alan Moore.
Yeah, it's consistent because, like I said, he's some of his adaptations of his work have gone on some of the best stuff out there, and it's sad that he can't enjoy it. I mean, Dave Gibbons can, but he just has an issue, so that's fine. I pretty much ignore Alan Moore's existence beyond his work, because if you start thinking about the actual person and his
He's
personality,
like the very definition of like a comic book elitist. He keeps everything to a comic book.
Well, I was just thinking too, was Netflix at the event? Because I know Netflix was
did not see them.
Stuff. Okay, because Netflix dropped that One Piece trailer. I don't think that was because of Comic-Con. I think it was because of some other stuff they had going on.
Comic-Con.
Well, that's the thing, is like, but you want to release. I mean, we were all thinking that maybe there was going to be a Rebel Moon something released, but it seemed, I don't know, who knows when we're going to get that full first trailer. But then of course we had the Marvels trailer that showed up Thursday night or something, and obviously that was probably going to be released during Comic-Con. I don't know how you guys felt about the trailer. Better than the first one, but better than the first trailer, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to still watch it, but I'm just kind of,
I'm watching it because I'm a fan, but like the trailer was like medium to me. The first trailer was better, because a lot of this trailer was like more of the same to me, because I'm just like I'm like they ended the second trailer with the joke about Goose eating the people. I'm like, but that was like the main joke in the first trailer. It's like that's not a new thing, So I'm like,
no,
I hate that cat.
If they have any surprises for this one, they're doing a damn good job of keeping it, but at the same time, I don't know. I think it's going to be stronger than the first one, simply because Nia DaCosta is behind the director's chair this time.
Yes,
and then they have the other two, and I really like Miss Marvel. I really like Miss Marvel, and I like Kamala. I like the character, and I was like, and I like the actress, so I'm like, okay. I'm watching it mainly for her, because I thought
part of me wonders if the trailer is the way it is and it's cut the way it is because they kind of just released it out of like obligation, because I'm getting a sneaking suspicion that they're going to push back a lot of movies set for the fall because of the strikes.
Expect that to happen.
Like, I don't even know if the Marvels is going to come out in November.
I don't either.
They didn't either. No one knew either. A lot of this stuff, you get the inclination that a lot of stuff is going to be pushed back simply because they don't want to put it out there without some type of promotion. No type of TV show.
Did you guys hear what they're doing with Invincible season 2?
No.
So they announced during the panel, it's kind of got people weren't really focused, because if you notice, they dropped the Adam Eve special episode, which everyone talked about majority wise.
Right.
But what they said is that what they're doing is November 4th. They're dropping the first half of the season, which is only 4 episodes. Then they said we're taking a break until early. Oops, sorry, I might have been breaking up for a second. Sorry.
No,
so they're dropping the first 4 episodes November 3rd. Then they're taking a break until sometime in early 2024, and then the rest of the season comes out.
Wow.
And Variety or the Hollywood Reporter put out an article basically saying it wasn't confirmed, but they were saying that it might be because of the strikes, because they want to have the content drip out a little bit slower. So
that's a shame.
You gotta maintain.
That's why they're doing split seasons instead of all at once, just because of that, just so that we can have more content for next year.
That's ridiculous.
That makes sense. Yeah, 2024 is going to be an interesting year because with all this that's happening and the fact that they're saying that it might be 6 to 9 months and they can't really do anything. So it's like, what do you gotta fill up a year.
Yeah,
that's gonna be it's gonna be
that's
interesting. That's actually pretty smart.
Is Captain America going to come out on time next year? Is anything going to come out?
So if any of the projects are going to come out next year, worst case scenario, the Marvels might get pushed back into early 2024. If the strike lasts at most 9 months, that would lead into March 2024. At this point, Captain America 4 is the only Marvel project that, as far as I know, is the only one that they have actually finished principal photography.
Yeah.
If they're going to do anything else, it would be in a reshoot, but even then you can't do anything like that until the strikes end anyway. So they could theoretically, if they wanted to, put out Captain America without any reshoots if they feel like they don't need any, but still, knowing Marvel Studios, they reshoot everything and it's
they budget for that.
They budget for it every single time. So Captain America could come out next year, but if it does, it's going to take either the August or December slot of 2024. That's my guess.
And I don't even think Thunderbolts has started filming either.
No,
Thunderbolts was filming, and then the writer's strike happened.
And don't quote me. That 6 to 9 month period, that's a speculation, a composite of what you heard people.
Right. I've heard similar things though.
Yeah, because it could end. But one of the things I like the DC stuff. I remember when they first announced James Gunn's even James Gunn stuff. When they first announced James Gunn stuff, even without the strike, I didn't think 2025 was realistic at all. I think that was a projection date because even with your natural reproduction and things like, post-production stuff, things that inherently happen in making a movie, those things happen even without a strike. But even now, I think 2026 is more realistic for Superman Legacy. I mean, I would not bet on 2025 at all.
I hate that I have to agree with William, but I do. Yeah. But you know what, though? And I said this, I think, in William's chat when he's streaming. It might be a blessing in disguise to have an extra year off between the old stuff and the reboot, just to give yourself more time, potentially.
Yeah,
I get that. But but what I'm tired of these studios doing is showing the timeline, showing these dates because they never stick. They never fucking when name one of these movies that has ever stuck to its first announced release date. It never fucking happens. So like, stop doing it. And
it's for the investors though, Dave. That's why they do it.
But I'm like, I don't know. It's just. Sometimes they do, like, sometimes when you've seen, like Kevin Feige, he'll just say, like, oh, yeah, it's going to show up in 2027. Fantastic Four or whatever the heck. They just say, like, the year, like, early or
Fantastic Four. That movie's been
occasionally it does happen. Right. Like, when I thought about it, I was like, Wonder Woman, that one was announced for June, met its June release date.
Did it actually do that? Okay. Because I was, like, always wondering, like, why do they
know Aquaman got pushed back. That once or twice.
Again.
The Flash. We've all seen how many times the Flash moved release dates.
It's originally supposed to come out.
I'm saying this real quick too. If Aquaman gets pushed back to next year, I don't even know what they're gonna do. It cannot afford to move to next year. It can't. That movie cannot be sitting in the tank for that long. It just
and it's funny too because now it doesn't have to go up against Avatar. Right, wasn't like another Avatar movie supposed to come out, or what was supposed to come out against it this year? Was it an Avatar movie?
WB's own Wonka movie. They're opening against each other.
Which
is weird to me because I'm like, Warner Brothers, why are you opening up Aquaman and Wonka at the same time? Like, that's two big movies.
The fact they released a teaser for Wonka and not Aquaman tells me they're probably going to move Aquaman and keep Wonka right where it's at.
Well, the sad fact of the matter when it comes to Aquaman and all the fucking reshoots that it has to do, I even saw like it was either a headline or a tweet. It's like every scene has CGI. You're under fucking water or there's something in the background.
So when you have to reshoot it, that means more VFX work.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that movie is just, I feel sorry for James Wan. I feel sorry for Jason Momoa for that because it's just such a fucking shit show.
I don't feel sorry for Peter Safran, but yeah.
I know. That's why I didn't bring up his name. That's why I didn't bring up his name, you know? I appreciate that they did the whole dual DC Studios thing where it's like, all right, you have one guy that's handling this side and then the creative side. And I'm glad that they got a director that seems like he's a nerd. He knows the material. I think, was James Gunn my first choice? No, absolutely not. But I appreciate what they did. But yeah, Safran.
Gunn's great. Yeah, Gunn's great. It's just that Safran was the guy who's been pushing for a reboot ever since the first Shazam. So he can rock
And it'll be his ass on the line too in 3 years. So it better work.
I remember after 2017, like Peter Safran made a real hard conscious effort to be out there and be in front of the press and try and spin this narrative about how DC's gonna change. We're doing this with the Batman, but we're doing something different here with Aquaman and Shazam. And I'm just like, dude, just stop. You're not the guy.
Yeah. And I remember at the time he kept saying the word reboot, 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 reboot. I'm like, dude, do you realize you are causing a panic?
You're tossing a hand grenade. Like I said before, if stupidity and lazy fucked, reboot would be the resulting child. So
exactly. What were they? I'm just saying, look, I like James Gunn, and I was saying, hey, Gunn is the guy I would eagerly give a chance to. But what were they thinking of pointing this guy who clearly has no zipper on his mouth, who cannot be bothered to pick his choice of words carefully? What were they thinking of pointing him as in the leadership?
Well, that's just it. They're partners. They've been producing and working partners for the last 20-something years.
Forgive my ignorance, but I'm just confused. Do we not like Peter Safran because of the work he's done thus far, or something that he said recently? No. I'm just confused.
Something he said in 2017.
Okay. Because I wasn't aware of this. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. It's just that ever since around the time that the first Shazam came out, whenever he was in an interview, he kept saying reboot. We're rebooting, and everyone was panicking. Like, what? What are you talking about? And
he wasn't really keen on what Snyder was doing too.
No, he was not.
So he was one of those guys as well. So that's part of it. But we got Brad, of course, joining right now. What's going on, Brad? Hey,
now, one thing I do want to kind of preface is, am I clear tonight? Can everybody make me out?
Good. You're really good. Okay. Yeah, you're very clear.
Because William's been I've been kind of a regular lately on William's Saturday night streams, and he's kind of helped me out with some technical upgrades.
Earphones.
Pay it forward,
because I'm still pretty new to the whole live streaming game, so it's like I'm kind of, and I'm just not the guy to talk to when it comes to technology, so he's definitely going to help me out with this. But I just want to be clear that everybody can make me out tonight.
New as well. I think before I get on this plane, I think that the sad thing about it is I think that James Gunn is the right guy. I do like James Gunn's plan. A lot of the stuff that he has laid out is very intriguing. I'm not against any of that stuff. You go item by item. I mean, the brave and the bold. I'm on the fence about it. And some of the stuff, but overall, I just think they've put themselves in a situation that has hurt them, and it doesn't matter how good your plan is if the packaging is wrong. I think there's too long in between now and when you'll see something on the screen for a lot of people to dwell on the cracks that could show this plan. I also think that there's just a lot of people who are disengaged, and it's not just the hardcore geeks. We talk a lot to the when we see a lot of these general audiences, to the people. They're not a hateful group. They're disengaged. The other shinier toy has taken precedence. So I think there's too much time in between now and when they got stuff going on, and I just don't think there's anything that's being brought to the surface that puts DC films in a good enough light for people to take them seriously in 2026 when it's going to be time for them to.
Yeah, when you add Strike into it too.
Strike too. We're just in a weird spot too because this weekend, right, with Barbenheimer, I mean, we're seeing weird patterns with the general audience where they're starting to go to stuff that they weren't going to before. Because someone in the chat earlier mentioned I think Mission Impossible is more of a victim of a bad release date. But I saw people talking about this too. It's just either fresh IP films, films based on IPs that haven't gotten a movie in a very long time or ever, or something it's a breath of fresh air. That's kind of what's gravitating that general audience a bit more now. I'm not saying
there's not that many of them.
It's not so much that.
So just it's really a taste, maybe. I don't know.
It's really more about telling a solid story and making your film feel like you need to go out to it and see it at the theater. I can date this back to, I would probably say about 2020, right before the pandemic kicked in. Look at what happened with Birds of Prey, and then look what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog came out a week after Birds of Prey, and I feel like that film in and of itself, the fact that it was Sonic's first cinematic outing, and it went up against a movie like Birds of Prey, an established character, Harley Quinn, finally getting her own movie. What came out triumphant before the pandemic hit? Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
People want to see people want to be entertained, yes, but people also want to see something new, exciting, and they want it to
that's
feel
what I
like
mean.
they
Like
need
those
to rush.
fresh IP movies, like movies on IPs they haven't seen in a while or ever be adapted before.
And then look at what
but
happened with Super Mario, right?
Yeah, plus it had the great publicity of listening to the fans as far as the design of Sonic. Like
that's what's impressive about that to me is that they had that controversy with Sonic looking horrible initially, and then they fixed that, and then it became such a big hit.
I thought it was going to die. It was going to die in the water after that.
I thought that too.
It's dead. Yeah,
A lot of people did.
but
the
it
fact
ended up
that
being a really good movie.
Yeah, the fact that they listened to the fans, that was a big publicity boost because like they're saying, hey, this is a studio that will listen to the fans. This is a movie where they listen to the fans. I wanna go see that.
Wait a minute, now, Eric, listening to the fans, are you saying The Rock was somehow involved with this?
Well,
I think Paramount looked at what happened with Transformers and Ninja Turtles and went, yeah, we can't do this a third time.
All right, William, get out of here. I know you're about to board, so get out of there, William. Thank you for
William.
See you guys later.
Appreciate you joining and talking some Comic-Con.
Thinking about the whole gap with the how the strike is like causing a big gap as far as content is concerned. I've really been thinking. I couldn't help but wonder because now Kevin Smith had made clear that hey, what I saw with the Schumacher cut. No, they were not saying they were going to release it. It was just they were just showing me the Schumacher cut. But I couldn't help wondering, especially with this strike, could they have been doing that and showing it to Kevin Smith and as kind of testing the waters to see if releasing these cuts would be a nice way to fill in that void? What do you think?
He didn't get it from Warner Brothers though.
Well, that's what I was going to mention. I actually talked to Kevin Smith a couple weeks ago about it.
That's right. You did meet him, right?
I did, yeah. And
I asked you had to walk some of that back a little bit. There was
a little bit, yeah. But just to clarify exactly what he told me with the Schumacher cut, it was a random fan who had it on his laptop. That's like, here you go, and then it's just like showed to him privately, and he's able to show it one night. The Ayer cut, when I asked him about that, he basically said he hasn't seen David Ayer since the premiere back in 2016. He hasn't spoken to him or even had a conversation with him. He would like to talk to him if he ever runs into him again about it, but the odds of that happening, I don't know. He doesn't even think he can get the Schumacher cut released. He thinks it was just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
That's what was sad about that whole thing. Is like when I watched the stream for that, and then they gave the details of where it was coming from, because obviously it sounded like, oh my god, like Warner Brothers just handed him the cut and was like, hey, you promoted.
No, it was not official in any capacity.
Not at all. And I'm like,
well, one thing I always go back to with that is that again, I don't think you can underestimate just how pivotal a role Kevin Smith had in the Snyder Cut itself. So so the thought had crossed to me too, where it's like, did this kind of come his way as maybe like some kind of back channel thing W was doing? Okay, let's kind of test the waters on this, see if there's viability to it.
Yeah, because I am very curious how the fan got it.
That's what I'm wondering too. And aren't there
he said he won it
legal
he said he won it from some like raffle or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, the aspect of like how the fan got it, I have no clue. And I don't think we're ever going to get an answer to that. Because I think Kevin said like his one prerequisite for him showing it was he wanted to be on his podcast. That was it. It's like, I'll show you it, but I want to be on your podcast.
Well, and I was kind of wondering.
Because it really sounds like I know a guy who knows a guy who got it from another guy. I was like,
When I was, and then with how he got it, the thing I was thinking, like, aren't there legal ramifications of that too, or like that?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to wonder too, because I mean, like, especially if he was able to show it at his theater, I was like, all right, don't you have to get approvals? And I was kind of wondering about
that necessarily.
Really, the fact that Warner Brothers didn't get mad at him for it. Here's
the thing, though. He didn't make the event specifically to showcase the Schumacher cut. He did it as an additive extra. Hey,
that is true. That is true.
If you're here at this event, I might show you a thing. It's not quite the same thing as
they didn't promote it. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You sell tickets saying like, "Hey guys, buy tickets to see the Schumacher cut."
See, this is where we need to get Chris Wong on here with the tinfoil hat talk.
Right?
Yeah,
Miss Chris. Yeah, but no, I mean that. Yeah, it was a little disappointing that It's not. It's because it just really sounded like, oh wait, this thing's gonna come out. If like Kevin Smith's talking about it and he's saying that he's seen it, and I was like, whoa. But then it's just when you actually watch that whole thing and get the details, and you kind of go, oh wait, this is not what we thought.
Epic Film Guys actually did a really solid breakdown of the Schumacher cut on their podcast.
Yeah, they did. Epic Film Guys, they did a good job, like talking because they went and saw it, and they broke it down to like 2 episodes of a podcast. So.
Yep.
Yeah, and in the breakdown, like, do they mention any differences with the from the Red Book edition? Or
yes, because there's certain scenes that we've seen that weren't actually in that cut that they saw. Like I think Dick Grayson, when he was like training, and then him and Bruce talk
Karate Laundry.
That scene is awesome. When he's on the Kung Fu dummy, and
but apparently that's not in the cut that they saw, according to There's like some things but mainly the things that we knew about when it came to the Red Book edition are in there. But I don't think you see them on the gargoyle either. I think that was not in there as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that also was not in the Schumacher cut. But
it was not.
And this is where it's like I kind of recommend everybody like go read the novelization of Batman Forever, because there's a lot in there that's like that. I read that as a kid, and there's a lot in there that's not in the movie. Like the intro, like one thing I'll reveal about is that the beginning, it kind of starts off with the past, the flashback to Bruce after his parents are murdered, and he's running through the forest in the rain with that book, and he falls into the cave and sees the bat, and that's played up in the novelization. It's a really kind of grandiose thing, and it's kind of presented as this is really like the origin of Batman within the context of Batman Forever.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And
speaking of like deleted scenes, I actually wanted to ask you guys, one of the reasons why I put Michael Keaton's Batman in the thumbnail was like the fact that the whole thing about, some of these deleted scenes that came out from The Flash. I just rewatched The Flash again last night.
Did you buy it digitally?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Because I enjoyed the movie. I just enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, sure.
And
it's a good
and the Miss Nighthawk, she loves it. It's her favorite movie of the year. And then we're showing her neighbor that, and he really liked it too. But and I was explaining to her, I'm like, oh yeah, they released like 3 different deleted scenes, and I told her the scenes. I told her the scenes, and she was like, why would they delete? I'm like, you just never know. Especially that the first deleted scene was when young Barry phases through the door when they're finding Kara, and then they see that this shot of the ship.
I remember thinking, where was that going to be? Where was that? Because that wasn't in the movie.
That's like one of the first things you saw at Fandom.
Yeah.
It was like that was a great shot, and it's like
when he's looking at the suit, and I thought that was kind of cool too, because the suit's not just laying there. It was like, he actually found it. And then, of course, he goes like, I actually did like the joke of like, is Superman petite? Like, I actually thought that was kind of funny. But but I love that shot. I love that shot.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
The whole excellent shot, and why is that in the trailer but not in the movie? That really reminds me of, if you remember in the trailers for Spider-Man Homecoming, there's that beautiful shot of Spider-Man swinging and while Iron Man is flying right by him. And I was like, that's in the trailer, but it's not in the movie. Like, what the heck?
That was specifically for the trailer.
They wanted to kind of have Iron Man as kind of a nice little bit of support for this is the first solo MCU Spider-Man. So it's like that's probably independently shot. That probably was never intended to put it in.
So with that in mind,
to be in the trailer or in the movie.
So with that in mind, there's almost always, people will watch these deleted scenes and go, why'd they cut it? Why'd they cut it? Why'd they cut it? And usually, of course, the reason is, look, it may be a good scene in and of itself, but they got to cut it because the flow of the story requires you to cut it, but required it to be.
I will say this, though.
Yeah, but in this case, more often than not, Warner Brothers cuts shit that's important to the story, and they don't care.
And to bounce off of Phil real quick, this is my person. If people get mad, I apologize, but I have to say this. When Andy Muschietti came out and talked about like the idea with Michael Keaton's Batman and why he retired, basically going on about how there's an instance where he was fighting a villain and that he killed that villain or maybe perhaps accidentally, and it was in front of the child of the villain, and that's what made him retire. I'm like, and it ties in like the themes of like his character and like how Barry is like kind of helping him return back to the light again and trying to like redeem him in a sense. I'm like, why would you not show that? It's such a great idea. Like,
I had that question going in. I had that question going into the movie, and I was like, why did he quit Batman? And I know they do explain, like, like, oh, yeah.
Well, they make a joke where it's like, well, there's no more crime. I solved the crime. I'm like,
Yeah.
is that really a good answer, though?
It's not a good answer because it's like you can't solve all the crime.
Well, with this information presented now it feels like he's sidestepped that question because he doesn't want to answer.
Yeah, exactly. And deleting that, I mean, taking that scene out, I mean, it doesn't like kill the movie or anything, but it's like it's enough.
There's
to
plenty
like,
in that movie that already kills it, but yeah,
it's a great movie.
But there's Phil, but you made me lose our train of thought there.
I don't disagree. I think it's got a lot of heartfelt moments. That ending just really sucks.
Oh yeah.
Are you talking about the Clooney ending?
Yeah, that.
I'm okay with the gag, but I mean, yeah, I do want to see like what.
But my whole thing is just like, and I'm sure it's not Andy's fault, but I'm just like, what is the mindset of when you're going into the editing bay and you're like, okay, we're taking this, and this out, but like something like that is such a big deal to me. It's like, how could you not keep that in something?
It's like, you know what?
It's like a 2.5 minute scene.
Like, it doesn't like colossally like elongate the movie or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's just that one little scene. I agree that it really does help the movie. It really gives a kind of soul both to Keaton, but also to the young Barry. And he's expressing his doubts over the whole thing. And he also brought up, like in that scene, young Barry brings up that point. It's like, okay, the whole spaghetti thing. I didn't say anything, but how the heck does he know that much about time travel? How time travel works?
That's another thing too, where it's like, and then you suspect that maybe Bruce is obviously he's researched and even thought about it. And I think like watching it the third time and realizing that, I'm like, even with Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne and him saying like, this stuff makes us who we are, and then of course it made him lonely, and then of course that's like. You see that in Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, that he's just alone now. And it kind of makes you almost wonder, like, maybe he just like researched it and even attempted to try to do something at one point.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Because he regrets that moment in his life so much, he wishes he can go back and fix it, which ties into the other themes of the movie so well.
I think I've seen somebody, and it might have actually been you, Phil. I'm not sure. I saw on a stream right after it came out, somebody had speculated that the whole spaghetti analogy, that might have been intended for Cyborg, initially, and then they just kind of gave it to Keaton's Batman.
Oh, it's possible. Yeah, I might have said something like that.
Yeah, well, I know who it was, but it's like I feel like I might have seen you do on the Four Nerds, but it wasn't. It was somebody else. But,
yeah. Well, you know what else I was thinking about too, and Andy came out and talked about that deleted scene. You know what it really reminded me of? Not the exact same, but it reminded me a lot of like Batman Beyond and why that. The version of Bruce Wayne had to stop.
Yep.
I'm like, that is too. I'm like, that could have been
it's in that same ballpark, yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I can agree with that, yeah.
Yeah, because he was getting weak, because he had his heart condition, he had to grab the guy's gun to try and take down, and then he's like,
and the same case, like Andy was saying, it's like he reached a moment in his career as Batman where he became the very thing he didn't want to become.
But and I think about that, I'm just like, well, he didn't do that after the Joker. He didn't do that after watching the Penguin die. He didn't do that after watching
but it wasn't
fall down
like someone's kid, though.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, killing it in front of a kid, that would be because let's be honest, because as much as the real DC fans love to throw trash Batfleck, Keaton didn't have that no kill rule at all. Like,
he didn't just not have the no kill rule. He went straight to the kill rule.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll stuff a bomb down your pants and smile about it, Batman.
Yeah. And also like activate the shields on the Batmobile and then drop a bomb outside to blow up all the goons around the Batmobile.
Yeah, I know. It was funny.
Chemicals.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, and I had people like in my mentions like, "Hey, this is the same," and like, okay, did you read the whole quote? It's not that he killed a criminal; it's that he killed the criminal in front of his kid. It was like there's a detail right there. Like, no one's saying, because I hate the fucking Batman kills debate. Both sides of the argument just fuel it, and it's always it's either like Batman doesn't kill, and then all of a sudden you get the other side going like, oh yeah, it's okay for him to kill, but Batfleck. I'm like, shut up, stop it, guys. There's details, especially when it comes to this. There's details. There's detail. The detail of in front of the kid is
exactly
that's the thing, and I appreciate that they actually had that in the story.
Sometimes I just love seeing that whole oh, Batman doesn't kill. He shouldn't kill. And every time I just think to myself, well, tough shit. He has. It's in his canonical history across a couple of different mediums. Like,
even Christian Bale's Batman, you know, the one that these real fans keep pointing to as the ideal. Like, in all three movies, his actions directly lead to the villain dying.
Well, I love in Begins when he finds that loophole of like, I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. So it's like, I found a technicality.
Bale, that's bullshit. Like you specifically had Commissioner Gordon shoot down the blow up like that part of the track so that it would cause a crash, so he would die.
But Eric, remember at the beginning, when the temple was,
he kills
like, above and beyond. He went
a temple.
Yeah, there's that, but then he went above and beyond to save. Well, obviously he didn't know it was, who it actually was.
Well, my mindset's always been personally, at least when it comes to me, it's like I grew up with Batman the animated series for that, in the animated DC universe, so that was very much emphasized, right? So that's my preference, but I'm fine with having a preference, and that's if it doesn't fit within that, it's fine.
Well, I mean, it just depends on what's the intent for it within the context of the Batman story you're telling.
Yeah, exactly. Because for me, at least personally, I find it some of the best Batman stories, some of the most interesting ones, where he's confronted about the no-kill rule. Like under the Red Hood, for example. The whole crux of that story is the no-kill rule, because that puts him at odds with Jason, who feels like, no, Batman needs to kill. There needs to be a vigilante killing people, because look at what happened to me. We're letting the Joker live. If he's killing people, then it raises questions about, like, okay, then why is Joker still alive? But there are some stories they play around with that, where it's like he doesn't want to kill Joker. He's like this weird.
And that's what makes Under the Red Hood so good, is because it is such a philosophical, treatise. So it's like whether or not he should cross that line.
Right. And Judd Winick also did a really solid job of doing both the book and the animated movie. Like he did scripting duties on both. And honestly, he was the only person who probably could do that story from, page to animation. And honestly, I would not be surprised to see that be presented if in a follow-up to Brave and the Bold at some point, because Damian Wayne is the Robin.
Yeah, which means there's a whole history, and then
exactly.
This was something interesting someone brought up on Twitter, which I thought was kind of interesting, because they're doing Damian and Brave and the Bold, right?
Right.
And someone brought up, well, what if in the DCU, Batman, because he's trying to get over the death of Jason Todd, and his son comes back into his life, so retroactively they'd be skipping over Tim Drake and going right to Damian and having him fill in the role that Tim took.
People.
Myself,
that's gonna piss.
I'm not sure that's what they're gonna do, but I've seen some theorize that's gonna pick.
They already did it in the New 52 animated universe, and I already wasn't a fan of it there. I do feel like they should do Tim Drake, and I feel like if you're gonna say
Tim
is family,
he's such a good that's the thing. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, again, you got to let whatever the hell. I mean, the thing is, when it comes to, look what Zach did. I mean, he killed. Yeah. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah, Jason Todd was killed," but he's like, "No, that's actually Dick Grayson."
I look back on that. It's like I love, because that we found that out again when he was revealing stuff on Vero, and it's like he just kind of casually he blasted him like which Robin was it? He just casually just said Dick, and that just broke the internet that day.
And then I even the first time he was on here, we discussed that too, and he described why that would be more of an impact on Bruce.
And it makes
because, like I said, I want to see Tim Drake. Don't get me wrong, but I can see an executive mindset being like, okay, Nightwing is his own unique character. Batgirl, obviously, Jason Todd's Red Hood, Damian Wayne's the younger Robin who has this interesting backstory. It's like, does Tim really fit in? I could see an exec looking like, well, Tim's kind of derivative. He's just kind of just there.
Yeah, but Tim is just getting the short end of the stick for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, and I will say, as far as what you brought up about how Zach pointed out how Dick being the one to die is more of an impact. I mean, that's got precedent in the comics itself. Like when Tim Drake first shows up, he points out that the death of Jason has brought Batman to the brink. He hasn't gone over the edge, but he's saying he's getting closer and closer to the edge. And I believe there was another point later on where when Bruce is reflecting on that, he mentions that if it had been Dick, that if I had lost you, Dick, if you had been the one that died under my care, I would have gone over the edge.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
It makes sense.
Since we've drifted over towards Zach, did the topic of the Snyder Cut joke in Barbie come up before I came on?
No, we haven't
No.
talked about
No,
that.
No, not at all. No.
Yeah, because
I don't
that's
think
of
everyone's
course
seen, Barbie yet.
Anybody would be okay with it. Maybe not Lane in the super chat. He gets upset about a lot of things. But
Yeah.
kidding, Lane.
I mean,
Not really,
I
but
haven't
okay.
seen-
But
I haven't
no,
seen
but I mean,
Barbie.
after seeing it in the context and everything like that, it was funny. I thought it was funny. Like it was funny.
I mean,
It made a few people chuckle. I mean, but I feel like the majority of people watching that are like, "What are they talking about?" I'm so
and
confused.
see that's where I kind of came down on it. It was that it's like for me, it's like I'm kind of 50-50 on it because it's like I feel the way it's introduced, it's like it feels like it's almost kind of crowbarred as far as a joke goes. It feels a little bit like they kind of had like, okay, we gotta just insert some kind of Snyder Cut one-liner here.
I think even Greta didn't even know about like what.
Well, that's the thing.
She
That's
had
the thing
a
I'm looking back.
vague knowledge of it, and to Brad's point, I do feel like it does feel like a bit of an insertion there from someone up in the brass. Whether or not it was done with like malicious intent, that remains to be seen.
But it's a good thing. Pop culture.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the
Well,
positive.
the
side.
movie makes fun of so many other stuff too. Like they make fun of The Godfather. They make fun of some other like pop culture
Matrix,
stuff.
right?
Matrix, yeah.
Okay.
And as Scott McClellan has pointed out, it's like when you're putting the Snyder Cut, within the same kind of hemisphere of conversation as The Godfather, you're kind of telling people they made it.
Yeah, it's great. And certainly, and it's like, lest we forget, remember when the Harley Quinn show had the Snyder Cut joke? Now, granted, everybody in the community appreciated that. But
also, Warner Brothers has absolutely zero problem promoting the Snyder Cut if it will get them anything positive. Like they've been doing that since 2017.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anything positive except for Justice League sequels, apparently.
Right. Like they even used footage of his film to promote that trash heap they released in theaters. So yeah.
It worked. It definitely worked. It definitely worked.
Speaking of DC and Snyder, I know they dropped that that documentary, that 3-part documentary on Max about DC. Has anyone watched that?
I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it yet.
But they do actually bring ZSJL up as a topic, and I don't think they used any because that was the whole thing about the one filmmaker was trying to license footage, and she was told us there's only one version. It's a 2017 piece of shit, and then
that was that big whole Rolling Stone article where they talked to that director, and she said, I was trying to get tease footage of that movie during the documentary, but they told me no. So
I think the way she got around that was that she just used behind the scenes footage of principal photography. But they touch upon the story of it within the documentary, so she kind of found a little bit of an inroad there.
That's good.
So because you can't talk about the history of DC on film without that.
Right, it'd be pretty ignorant to not. You'd have to be
I did hear that they did do I'm not sure if it's old interviews, but I know Henry Cavill was featured in the documentary as well, talking about Superman.
There you go. So, that's pretty cool.
Henry's there, Gall's there. Again, I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I've seen snippets of it, and that was one of them.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up right now, guys, because obviously we're gonna talk some Superman animated series, and I gotta make some dinner in between this in a half an hour. So I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate William coming on, and it's just we got Robin, Tim Drake showing here.
Yeah,
I'm guessing this is it's Robin with an Australian accent who eats bacon.
Got any bacon?
No, I'm not having any bacon.
No. Oh, okay.
I heard we were talking about Tim Drake. They should not skip Tim Drake.
Well, I think you're a little bit biased.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm biased. By the way, check out Red Robin. Yeah.
I just like how he popped in right at the right
tail end of it.
Yeah. Stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining, Drago.
It's Robin.
But put it in there. Put it in there. But no, I appreciate everybody showing up. Appreciate the support to the channel, obviously, and you guys are awesome. And we'll go around and anybody who wants to promote anything. Phil, I don't know if you have anything to promote. Go for it.
I've been on Twitch since 1 o'clock this morning. I caught 4 shiny Pokemon in a 5-hour time span. Twitch, Twitter, Vero, Instagram, Threads at Unfiltered. With 3Ds, not 5. There you go.
All right, Eric, got anything?
Yeah. Well, you can see me on YouTube at Hardboiled Entertainment. You can see me on Twitter at Hardboiled Films. And just looking forward to the next thing we're going to talk about. And I'll just say this about Oppenheimer: one thing's sure, it's not going to bomb.
Yeah, it definitely did not. Definitely did not. RJ, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm on social media, the YouTube's Resident Justice, Twitter, well, soon to be renamed X, Threads, all that good stuff, YouTube. And stay tuned for August 1st. I'll be announcing a project I'm working on with a couple of cool guys, which will be very fun for those who like the interactive video game stuff. So
there you go. All right, Brad, you got anything?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Vero, excuse me, at Brad Curran. I'm also, my writing can be found on Screen Rant to Kung Fu Kingdom. And also, to go off of what RJ just said, Elon, if you are going to rename Twitter X, go all the way, and I'll pull out that DMX classic. That's going to give it to you.
Yeah, right. There you go. Wow, it's going to be interesting. And then, of course, we got Tim Drake.
You can find me at Droga52 on YouTube. I was just doing a live stream of me playing Arkham Asylum, and I'm stuck on something. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter via Axel R. Droga. So
nice.
Yeah.
Does the R stand for Robin?
And you can find him eating bacon on the Vodka stream on Friday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. Yep. There you go. Anyways, guys. All right. Appreciate the support, guys, and everybody, and William, of course, giving us some Comic-Con dirt, I guess you could say. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. And like I said, I'll see you guys in a half an hour. We're going to be talking about the Main Man Part 1. Lobo, baby. That's right. Scott and I will be talking about that episode of Superman the Animated Series. So hope to see you guys there. And everybody on the panel, thank you for joining. Great discussion as always. And we will talk to you guys later.